Hello again. Just a quick stream, really. And I'm not going to go into too much detail with everything that's been going on. I just, I wonder sometimes. Well, I wonder. I just wonder. So I just want to talk about the word chest because it seems that everybody is, or everybody has an opinion about what the chest in the picture is all about. So, and I'll do this first and then I'll come to chat. It shouldn't take long to do this. So, the way I saw things was that Forrest would give us information and we'd have to determine what the information was. So, he gave us scrapbooks and interviews, etc., and pictures. So, with regard to the scrapbook, so this is a word chest. Obviously, you can't see it because I can't share it. So, if you go to the Hippo Word app, you can look this up, and or you can just believe what I'm saying. It's up to you. And again, I'm not about whether you believe me or not. I'm about here's the information. Do with it what you want. So, a chest. What is a chest? So apparently, there's only one chest in that picture. I can assure you now that there's more than one chest in that picture. If that is the case, if that is what was wanted to be expressed, and you can make up your mind or your own mind how many chests there could possibly be, depending on the words I'm using. So in the scrapbook, there was one, or with the scrapbooks, there was one with a bathroom. So chest is a bathroom. There's a cap, there's a toilet, there's a chest of drawers, there's a hallway table. Remember the phone right at the end of the hall? A bin, a vault, a safe, a table, a shelf. These are all chests. So if you see them in that picture, you can start counting how many you think you see. So shelves. Remember the walk-in closet that was in the same thing bathroom? And there's a picture of cans, a can tree on the front of this. So cans, is a chest. A reliquary, drawers, clothes closet, a container, a case. What's going on here? Why is my thing doing that? So Legos decided to plant a advert right in front of my words, which is not good. I can't read any. So case, a linen closet. I know these aren't in the picture, but these are words that have been in scrapbooks that Forrest has done. So he could have just been saying, "This is a chest. This 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 is a chest." A pantry, a press, a dresser, a bureau, a trunk. Remember Fetchin's trunk. A buffet, a cabinet, a closet, a wardrobe, a carpet bag, flight bag, backpack, slough, slough, whichever you want to call it. Maybe a creek, maybe chest creek. Tote, well, I'm going to use tote. Folder, satchel, wallet. Oh, stop it. Why did it disappear? What's going on? Get out of my computer. I don't know why it's doing this. Never done this before. It is not funny. So each time I try and go up, the advert is in the way of the words that I'm trying to read. And I have no idea why it's doing that. And I cannot stop it. Suitcase, briefcase, bag, luggage, tour boy, bathroom again, washstand, toilet, cupboard, chest of drawers, writing table, hide boy, Dresser, desk, bureau, melon, and these are like chests. This is basically about the female anatomy. Cans. So people saying, why is he bothered about cans? Not because of female anatomy, but because of chest. Pear, Hooters. I'll just rush on by that. Middle and heart. So my heart is in Wyoming, me in the middle, trunk and body. I'm going to throw my chest on that chest and day to come find me. I hope you're counting how many chests there are in that picture now with all these words that I've said. A mine, a treasure trove. I hid a in the Rocky Mountains. If you find it, you can have it. Padded bag, paper bag, a fund, a bunk, a sachet, a dead soldier. Remember the dead soldier that Forrest was looking for that he didn't find? A flower pot, the skin, window box, thermos flask, a rose bowl, safe deposit, wrappers. Remember those wrappers that he said? He'd give me those wrappers. A museum, a gallery. Hit a gallery in the Rocky Mountains. Arsenal, my team. I hit my team in the Rocky Mountains. I hit Arsenal, so I hit a load of guns or something in the Rocky Mountains. Crystal, hit a crystal in the Rocky Mountains. I hit a horn, a thermos, a shrine. Didn't somebody find a shrine in the Rocky Mountains? Hot water tank, a load, padded envelope, Toby jug, a wine bottle, a laundry basket, test tube, greybeard. I hit a pirate in the Rocky Mountains. If you find it, you can have it. Pillbox, ornament, blank. I hit a blank in the Rocky Mountains. Tube, cup, Tupperware, earthenware. Wasn't that the video about the pottery? A treasure house, a tin can, a bank. I wasn't sure if my bank would still be there. My chest would still be there. Manger, vault. Chest was in a vault. Chest was in another chest. Kid. Oh, I've gone past Billy. Oh, I think I've gone past Billy. I hit a Billy in the Rocky Mountains. Billy, there you are. As I've said many times, Billy's always there. I hit a cache in the Rocky Mountains. File, a pin, a chalice, cisterna. Oh, a warehouse. I work there. I work in a chest. Pan. Is that Peter Pan? Billy. There's Billy. Carboy. Glass from Toledo. Hit some glass in the Rocky Mountains. An underground tank. A boiler. The rack. The roof rack, remember? I hope you're counting because there's some of these that are in that picture. Urn. I hit an urn in the Rocky Mountains. If you find it, you can have it. Oh, have I gone past capsule? A wallet, a chassis. That's Bill's chassis. Hit a chassis in the Rocky Mountains. If you find it, you can have it. I had a pocket in the Rocky Mountains. If you dive more than $50 in your pocket. Cauldron, the witches. Crucible, beaker, pottery, form. Well, I don't know how many forms are in that picture, but there must be a lot of chests. Magnum, remember the champagne that was talked about. The bowl, the dish, the poke, the basin, the pitcher, the pit. Hod, churn, bottle, jug, flask, vial, cover, kettle, pouch, sack, war chest, sleeve, cassette. Some of these might be in that picture if you're looking. Wrapper, envelope, money box. Well, there's a box there, definitely. Trying to do it quick. Wardrobe, a punnet. Remember the strawberry punnet? Oh, picture keeps popping up. A jar, a frame, a folder, cast, a cradle, a bucket, coffin, a barrel, canteen, a cartridge, a safe, a hamper, a canister, a can, pack, a tin, a drum, a holder, a treasure chest, a pixies, ark, bin, caddy, treasury, coffer, trunk, container, case, box. So all of those things, not all of those things, those are synonym to chest, and it's possible that you saw some of those in that picture. Hello, hello, Melinda. Hello, Five Leaf. Just you two out of 7. That's not bad. So those things are the chest. Excuse me. So how many chests are in that picture? I'm not saying they are. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying if you're not prepared to look, besides trying to find an answer about a treasure chest, then you might not be finding any answers at all. If all you're concentrating on is what's coming from the left-hand side of the road, then you're gonna get run over, probably. And if you don't even look in front of you, then it's possible that you might walk into the person coming the other way. So I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm not saying there is more than one chest in that picture. I'm saying there is more than one chest in that picture if you're prepared to look for more than one chest and not just focus on the one thing that you see, which is hidden in plain sight. There's a pair of glasses and a plane. So, or it is in plain sight, depending which way you look at it. So in plain sight, there's hundreds of chests. If those white sheets there are forms or whatever, sheaths or folders or whatever they are. So there's hundreds of chests there. If you take into account the jars that are there, the boxes that are there, the drums that's there. I don't know if the tennis shoes are hinting at the closet, but in the scrapbooks, for the majority of the time, Forrest could have just been saying, look at this chest. Instead of look at this bathroom with these 3 mirrors, with this other chest, with this chest, with this chest, because there was a bowl in there was some drawers in there. Oh, here's a chest, here's a chest, here's a chest, here's a chest. And if you're not prepared to just think, well, maybe, as Forrest says, things are not what they seem. And words don't mean what you think they do. So maybe everything that you see is not what it seems, but it is truthful. It is what it's supposed to be. It's not what you think it is basically what I'm getting. Things aren't what they seem, which means they are something which is correct, but not how they seem to you or us. So potentially there's hundreds of chests in that picture, not just one. And the relevance of there being a chest in the office on a bureau or a desk, is there a difference? And how does that impact the fact that things aren't what they seem? If people are trying to say that it's fraud, but I don't see fraud. I see information that says, look, this is potentially what's happening. No, this is what's happening, but you won't think that. You won't think this is what's happening, which goes back to what I keep saying. Forrest said, before any of this happened, before June 6th, big things in 2020. I'm just paraphrasing. Excuse me. Just paraphrasing. So big things in 2020. Think nice thoughts. That's me taking flack. Those sort of statements, which is tantamount to this is going to get full of chaos, but it has to, because I'm going to try and make it happen. And if you try to, no, not if you try to, if you don't imagine then it won't look very good. As simple as that. And I'm not trying to say there's hundreds of chests in that picture. I'm just saying, if you're not even prepared to think that there's more information than you think there is, then you won't see any more information. You will still believe what you believe. Retracted. Okay. So the map in the chest. Oh, and you didn't retract that. Everything else you retracted, but you didn't retract that. What are you talking about? That's what I'm talking about. Nothing. I'm saying that you can say a lot of things without saying nothing, and people won't understand what it is you're saying. Forrest is giving out information all through the chase, and nobody has a clue what he's saying. And Forrest told us that. I think it's funny I'm the only one that knows what I'm talking about. So that means when was that? 2019. For 9 years, nobody knew what Forrest was talking about. For him to say that. For 9 years, nobody knew what Forrest was talking about. Now think about that. You're all basing everything that you know on what Forrest has said, and yet he said in that interview, nobody knows what I'm talking about. So anything that anybody did for 9 years is probably not relevant because nobody knows what Forrest is talking about. So therefore, someone has to come along and understand what Forrest is talking about. If you carry on doing the same things wrong, you'll get the same results. And that was what I was thinking of when I came into the chase. If people haven't solved it in 9 years doing what they've been doing, then they must all be doing it incorrectly. Has to be. If nobody's getting the right answer with these methods, then there has to be a different method. There has to be a different method. So let me try those methods that are wrong and see which method is different to those methods that have been done. Simulation path patterns. Server. See, I don't base my information about a chest. I look at the poem and see what the poem says. So whilst I can try and understand what the original part one of the chase was, I don't solely think that that is all this was about. So once the chest had drawn the fish, so once the chest had drawn the fish, then that part of it was, I'm not saying not relevant. It was just the next phase, I think it was just dipping the toe in it's probably the best way of saying it. So Forrest dipped his toe in it and was trying to catch that fish. The book was the vehicle for the poem. It's a word for yeah, there has to be a pattern. So in order to follow in Forrest's footprints, you had to be aware of the stride that was being taken. And then you had to be able to match that stride. So going too fast, you would overstep. And going too slow, you wouldn't be able to keep up. So you had to get used to that stride. It's the best way I can describe it. Too much and it was, you overshoot, and too little and you're nowhere near. So probably pitching at the right thing. Sorry you didn't understand it, Melinda. Hi, Amy. Okay, sorry, Melinda. Thank you. Sorry, Melinda. I thought you were saying like what? But yeah, I'm basically saying nobody understands what Forrest is saying because Forrest made that statement. I think it's funny. I'm the only one that understands what I'm saying. So therefore, everything that people have given to him prior to that, he's thinking, nobody understands me. Nobody understands what I'm saying. Here I am giving out information and nobody understands it. And I think that's funny. So I'll keep saying the same things and doing the same things, you know, potentially until somebody does understand me. Hello. Who are you helloing? Amy. See, I don't see that things are falsified. I think that things are taking place how they're supposed to take place. And again, I go back to the surprise party. People have to do what they have to do in order to make it work. And it doesn't matter how bad you think it is. You'll only know when the day comes. That's the only time you'll know when it finally takes place. So as bad as it looks, the secret phone calls, the staying out late, they're being quiet when somebody walks in the room. As bad as that looks, and it can, start people talking rubbish, has to be done. Has to be done. And it may upset some people in the process, but has to be done. Otherwise, there's no point in planning it. Hey, pirate, how you doing? What is he saying? I have no idea. It's hard when you go through the synonyms to say that that word falsified is not a correct word. Falsified, in my understanding, is it was done and then it was changed. Now, this has been done originally incorrect. No, originally an original error, an original mistake, an original, um, I don't know. You're not going to know until you know, sort of thing. Not it was done and then it was changed. I think what you've gone through is what you're going to go through um, to get to the end point. I don't think it was changed halfway through. And if it was, it doesn't make sense that it was. Hey, INFJ, how you doing? Yeah, I'm not going to stay on too long because Pirate might get, power hungry with his blue wrench. But no, I just wanted to try and say that people have been, and I haven't watched too much of it. I normally get my information through Davey B. So people are going on about the chest that's on the bureau or whatever you want to call it. And it's like, well, the bureau itself is another chest. So there's a chest on the chest, and the drum is another chest. So there's another chest there. And the jar is a chest, so there's another chest there. And there's a wooden box, there's another chest there. And there's some forms, so there's another chest there. But there's lots of forms, so there's, hundreds of chests. So it's like, where does it end? What is really in the picture? And there's a plane there. So is it hidden in plain sight? Has the plane gone? Are the glasses that you can't see? Is it more than just everybody focusing on the chest? What is really in the picture? Why are the tennis shoes? Why would the tennis shoes be in the office in the first place? What's the point of the hat on the drum? Whilst everybody's focusing on the chest, there are what's the word? Aberrations. There are more aberrations in the picture. The picture itself doesn't make sense unless you're trying to give information. Now, if everybody just wants to see that there's a chest on the bureau or desk or whatever it is, if everybody just wants to see that there's a chest sitting on that wooden thing, then that is not going to get anybody anywhere. I don't feel. I think if things aren't what they seem, then you need to look a bit deeper than just what you want to have as a resolution. So you're still focusing on the chest, and if the chest is not the only thing, and the chest was just a law, and the chest has been sold at Heritage, and keep going on about that. Excuse me, what else are you being told? Who are they trying to defraud? The government or the community? Is Forrest trying to do something so he doesn't get in trouble? Is he not going to get in trouble anyway? But in order for this to work the way that it's supposed to work and have the time that's needed to do what's needed to be done, I like. Thanks, Pirate. Well, it depends which story you're reading for that to be the case. That makes sense. So you think that Forrest spent 15 years, his money, his time, his effort, put a chest, whatever it is, 500,000, $1 million out there. So in the end, he could be a good swindler. How does that work? I can't see how that works. No, I can't see how that works. The book itself is probably one of the best made books that you would find, with how it was made and how it would withstand like nature and stuff like that. So the book itself has been through a specific process. It wasn't just a cheap book that was put out in order to defraud people. It was a very expensive book that was put out for part of the thrill of the chase. And Along Came Too Far to Walk on Once Upon a While. So the book itself was not a book that it was out to defraud anyone. Therefore, if the book itself is not out to defraud anyone, why would the rest of what the book is about try to defraud anyone? It doesn't make sense. If you're out to make a quick buck or out to defraud a community, which, my mother's dead, my family are dead, who's going to buy my book? That's one heck of a risk to go to all that trouble just to what? Take it all back? It was all his. It was all his. So I'm going to put it all out there and I'm going to take it all back. And, I'll give some people a good time. But it's mine, I'm taking it back. Not sure that's fraud. if it's his own. I don't understand how this is fraud. It may be, no, I'm not even going to go down that road. It's not. It's something much better, but I'm trying to say it as you're thinking it, not as I think it. I don't see that it's fraud. I don't think he's trying to defraud anyone because it's his stuff. And if he wanted to take it back, he could take it back. So I'm not sure how, it's fraud. I don't get it. He put a free treasure hunt out there for people if they wanted. The poem was online. You didn't have to buy the book. And he, in your way of looking at it, he took it back. He didn't want you to have it. Is basically what he's saying. And I don't see that that's the case, but time will tell. Hey, Mr. Finn, can you just go and do some whitewash? Yeah, I don't come on here to try and convince anybody that I'm correct or that my opinions are right, or I see things in the poem that says this is way beyond anybody, way beyond anybody. And it's quite easy to believe that it's AI, and it's quite easy to believe that Forrest time traveled, and it's quite easy to believe that there are cryogenic facilities, and it's quite easy to believe that aliens and all those things, because that's what the poem talks about. If you try to read it, and I'm sure if you use your AI and put in the right information, you'll find out that it'll spew that back out at you and say, "Yeah, you're right, Five Leaf. This information is in there." But I don't see that a man who set this up, who in other people's eyes decided he wanted to take it back, is defrauding anybody, because it's his stuff, and you didn't have to buy the book. You could have got the poem online, and etc. 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 So I don't see how that's fraud. I just don't see it. And I might be wrong. I doubt it, because I have faith in the person we know as Major Forrest Fenn, and I have faith in the poem. 100% have faith in the poem, especially with seeing future things that are in the poem that actually come to pass. And it's like, no way, there's no way you could know that. And reading the stuff that's in there is like, well, it's like way out there. So I can believe that maybe Forrest didn't plan AI, but I don't know. For somebody to have the ability to do this poem as one person, or thank you, sorry, as one person or many people doing it. Now, the trouble with thinking that many people did it is you can't just work on. It's not like you can compartmentalize the poem, because the information is all conjoined. So somebody can't work on the first stanza, somebody work on the second stanza, somebody work on. You have to start and do the whole lot. So therefore, one person's mind must have been focused on all of that. Now, whether that was an AI mind, I don't know. But if that was an AI mind, it was an AI mind that is way beyond what we're talking about now. And if it was just Forrest's mind, then, I don't know how he did it. I don't. I wish, Five, we could spend, I don't know, a week to show you what the poem says, and just scratch the surface. A week would just scratch the surface of what the poem says. And it would be, in with that, we'll do some stuff that, potentially could happen in the future. So then you could see it take place. And then your mind will be blown like mine is. One man couldn't have done this. And yet, possibly, yeah, one man did. And if you go to the future and you take a statue from the future that was made, 5 years from now, you go to the future, this statue is made 5 years from now, and you take the statue from where it is and you bring it back and put it in the same place where it is. So now it's in your time, but it was made in the future. When is this statue made? Because you've already got it in 2010, but it wasn't made until 5 years later. And does somebody else make that same statue? Now, to me, it seems like the poem's solved and then gets brought back. It seems like all the answers are known before we can start doing it. Because it's hard to work out how you can get all that information in that 24-line poem. And I'm serious information about totally different subjects. Some relevant to the chase and lots not relevant to the chase. And making a map or maps of different things and predicting different things and talking of people that are in the chase and talking of people that are in the family and talking of artists and all sorts of things. And you're saying there has to be a pattern. There's a pattern. You can follow the pattern, you get different information. I'd love it to just walk through the secret garden. He's done a map of the secret garden in the poem. You walk in through the door and you follow it round. All the words, all the animals, they all continuous, chronological, one foot on top of the other. Just crazy stuff. Just crazy stuff. If they were pictures, if you took the poem and you placed it on top of the secret garden as a picture, those words that you follow around the poem would be an animal. And you could walk around that garden and you would know which animal was next. And you would be able to walk around it. It's in the poem. That in itself is crazy. But then all of the other stuff that's in there, you take away that information and you start again. And it's that precise. 100% that precise. And it's crazy. But it's there. And for one person to do that in 15 years, it's like hard to believe, but one person had to do it, or one mind had to do it. And if you like to think that it's AI, then I don't believe AI is able to do what was done, unless it's future AI. But I don't know. It's just how I feel. I'm just amazed at how much information is in there. And maybe one day I'll show you the secret garden map, and it is a map. I'm not saying that's where it is. I'm saying there's a map in the poem of that. But there's there's maps in the poem of lots of things. A think tank, yeah, something that Forrest talked about, a tank and that. And like I say, the only other way to do it is everybody has a poem and they write their own information in it. But again, 500, 600, 700, 1,000 people, because there's lots of information in that poem. So it must have been a big think tank. And then to do that, you would have to make sure that they would all keep it quiet. So it's like, the more people you involve, the harder it will be to keep quiet. So if there is a think tank, and I go back to Forrest said in his book that, his team was his family. So I can believe that that's the case. And they would keep it quiet. But then, there's 4 brilliant people in there doing that. Because that poem is something else. It really is something else. And it's crazy, but it really is. Yeah. So I can get that information from the cipher. But what I'm saying is, you just look at the secret garden. It's in the poem. It doesn't matter about the cipher. Whilst you get information, you can see the end result of that cipher is in the poem. And then you follow that, to whichever point that is. Yeah, me and Davey talk and we try to say, is this confirmation bias or is this a factual statement? And my answers are based on the factual answers that I get, whether through the words I, just spoke about, or through the poem interpreted in the way that, and it's different ways, not just in one way. That poem is read in lots of different ways with different information, including, it seems like I'm having to go at people, but I'm not, including try the wheel. So try the wheel is not a go right straight to answer. So therefore there's more involved in that. And then there's the, how can you be absolutely sure that it is that wheel? Because there's lots of wheels. And it says in the poem, try the law wheel, and etc., 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 etc. Then you have to factor in, it's in water, not underwater. Then you factor in 200 feet, 500 feet. Then you factor in, 5,000 feet, 10,200 feet. Then you all those things that Forrest said, you put into the solve, and then you find out that whilst it's a good solve, a great solve, it doesn't follow all the things that Forrest said. And it doesn't matter how good, the cipher is, when you put the cipher and the end result that you come up with against what Forrest says, there are some statements that Forrest made that says it can't be right. Now, no, it can be right, it can't be correct. Whilst all the information is right and it's in the poem, it can't be a correct or winning solve, which Forrest said you needed. And that's just my opinion. I'm not saying anybody's wrong, because everybody's solve is, where it should be, and everybody found a chest. But it's not about a chest. It's not about the chest. Can't be. And if you're going to put, $1 million out there in the Rocky Mountains, you'd better be sure that you've got the money to keep it all going, let alone the $1 million they put out there. And even if it's fraud, you've got to have the money to keep that going. So, you've got to have a lot of money to do a treasure hunt that is $1 million out there in the first place, and then everything else that you need to have to keep it going. Why would it be bad to say the next big unpredictable thing? It's not unpredictable, though. That's the problem with the poem. It's not unpredictable, because it's in the poem being predicted. Now, I said this to Dave B the other day, I was quite happy with my solve in 2020. And the fear of me and David discussing it is, we change the stream. We move the rocks and the pebbles, and the stream goes on a different course. If it is to do with time, then each action that is made could change the course of the stream. So there is an element of what should be said and what shouldn't be said. And sometimes David B says what he says, and I think, oh crap, And sometimes he tells me, and I think, oh well, what if you'd have said this? It wouldn't have been, too bad. And I'm not knocking Davey, but it's like there is a fear that, sometimes you can say too much, and that might not be right. If you understand what I'm saying. Hi, Lucky Digger, how you doing? And Nikki. Yeah, many. So I ended up at a wheel, not the same wheel that Troy ended up at. Mine was at Casper Mountain, but yeah, it's possible that that is the case. If you found poems. Yeah, that's possible, Five Leaf. Yeah, so I don't see fraud. I see, making it happen, and I see, somebody putting all their efforts into that being the case. And while it doesn't look, I see the information, and I see that Forrest is saying, well, this is, what's the word? This is an aberration. So this is an aberration, this is an aberration, this is an aberration, but don't worry about it. So that's how I see it. I don't see it as this is fraud and this is fraud and this is fraud and this is this. I just see Forrest trying to point people and say, yeah, don't worry about it. This is an aberration, but, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. It'll be all right. Again, I don't like to say that people are losers. And I don't think, I don't know, I don't think anybody's a loser in the sense that they're making it out to be. But I just wish they'd have more faith, to be fair. Right. Yeah, ESP has been around for a long time, but I think Nikki means something else. Or same thing, but different. Yeah, these are not the chests you're looking for. These are not the chests you're looking for. These are not the chests I'm looking for. But you're talking about a chest that Forrest warned us about. So it's hard to believe that there's any fraud in that. Only a way to make it happen. It doesn't. To me, there's no. Absolutely, John. Um, as I think the poem is. Wouldn't FF have figured that out or known that? Are you on about the big event? Is that what you? Not sure what you're on about there. So I think Forrest figured out pretty much everything. Um, apart from, well, I think I didn't take a rage. Yeah. Um, Bush. I'll have to think about that question. So, and that's a slightly different than the shift, drift, and adjust, and the person best able to adapt, and those sort of statements. So, what keeps coming back to me, and I think is the most important, is it's there to aid the finder, not the seeker. Now, if everybody's still seeking, then by process of elimination, they're not the finder, because the finder would be already helped by the information that is supposed to aid the finder or the solver or whatever it is that people try to um, claim is correct. You know, the retriever, finder, solver. But Forrest said it was there to aid the finder, not the seeker. So that means, to me, there must be information that the finder would understand. Otherwise, there's no point in giving it. Absolutely, no point at all. If you're giving information to aid the finder and the finder doesn't understand it, you're wasting your time. Absolutely. So Forrest must have made a statement because he knew that the finder would understand the information that was given. So, okay then. So what you're saying, Five Leaf, is that you're wrong and Dave Woodard's right. Is that what you're saying? Because he's saying the same thing. Now, whilst you're arguing different things, you're arguing the same thing. You're saying it's fraud. But then you should argue Dave's case for him then. If you think it's fraud, then you should say that Dave Woodard's right and you're wrong. Because you can't both be correct. It's impossible for you both to be correct. So therefore, you should stop your solve and admit that Dave Woodard's right, and that would end it. Dave Woodard's had his right answer. So everybody that has a solve who thinks it's fraud should say that their solve is wrong because there can only be one answer. So all choose a person that you think is correct. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. You're claiming something that can't possibly be true. Can't possibly be true. There cannot be more than one correct solver. So one of you has to say that the other one is correct. If you think it's fraud and there's one solver and they have it all, then agree that there's one solver and they have it all and it's fraud. Otherwise, it's not fraud, it's making it happen, and you all believe in something that isn't correct. Yeah, I believe so, and that's the chaos that's helping. But it's hard to know whether These are legit searchers who have information that leads them to believe it's fraud, or they're part of the chaos that Forrest intended by planting that seed, if that makes sense. Forrest wanted to know who would help in chaos and embroidery. Now, he could do that two ways. He could plant the seed to real searchers who would totally believe in the information they had being correct, and as real searchers, they would kick off and cause the chaos. Or he could have people working for him who knew about, what to say and cause the chaos that way. Either way. But whichever way it is, if it is fraud, if that's what they're saying it is, then it can only be one correct answer. So each person who claims to be the solver must admit that somebody else is right. Otherwise, it's not fraud. It can't be. You can't all be correct. Can't all be correct. You can't be correct in the assumption, which is an assumption, that your solve is correct because it's fraud. Otherwise, Troy would be correct, Dave would be correct, Barbara would be correct, Five would be correct, Street would be correct, Bill would be correct. Everybody would be correct. That's impossible. If you think that you have the correct answer, there is no answer. If it's fraud, there is no answer. There is no answer if it's fraud. So you haven't solved it. If it's fraud, there's no answer. You haven't solved it. So I don't believe it is solved. I don't believe it is fraud. I believe there is a solve. But if you're saying it's fraud, then you haven't solved it, because each of you have a claim that it's fraud, but you all have different answers. How's that possible? It's not possible. If you all have different answers and it is fraud, then you are all wrong in your answers and you were frauded. You can't have it both ways. If you've been frauded by Forrest and you are all totally wrong, or you're not frauded by Forrest and there is a different answer that you haven't thought of. No, I know you have nothing to do with Dave. What I'm saying is the natural process, if you're all claiming that it's fraud and you all have different answers. If it's truly fraud, then you are all incorrect. All of you. If there is no win, because it's fraud, then you are all wrong. Or one person is correct. So decide which person is correct, because you can't all be correct. So there must be a correct solve out there, or it's fraud. If it's fraud, then everybody is wrong. Everybody's wrong if it's fraud. So it can't be fraud. Can't be fraud. Make me laugh today, Lucky. No, the solves don't matter. If it's fraud, then there is no solve. So you're all incorrect. You are all wrong. If you're saying it's fraud, then you're all wrong, because there isn't a solve. It's just fraud. It doesn't matter which solve it is. But if it's not fraud, then you have to agree that only one person has solved it. You have to, because you can't all have different solves and all be correct. It can only be one way or the other. If it's fraud, then nobody has a winning solve. Nobody, because it's fraud. By your own admission, you're saying it's fraud. All of you, those people that are saying it's fraud, you're admitting that Forrest tried to con everybody, and there is no real answer. But if you're claiming that you have the correct answer, how can it be fraud? That's how I see it anyway. Thanks, Nikki. I think I understand that. Thank you, Lucky. Yeah, I like the word solution as well, especially if it's good. Good. I don't think it is a false qualifier. I think if it is fraud, there is no winner. You can't have it both ways. If Forrest did everybody out of this, then everybody is out of it, and there is no winner. So therefore, you don't have a winning solve. You can't do if it's fraud. If he had no intention of there being a winning correct solve, and he was doing people out of this chase, which he spent 15 years on, and all his money or what money he put into it. If you're saying that it's fraud, then you either have to choose the person who is correct, because you can't all be correct. There can only be one person who was correct in the answer that he gave or she gave, or it's a non existent answer and therefore all wrong. That's just how I see it. I'm not saying, I make my decision based on the information that I get, and that information says it can't be fraud. Because if it's fraud, well, it can be fraud if I thought that way, but then I would have to admit that I was wrong and everybody else is wrong because it's just fraud. You weren't meant to win. Who's not as nice as they used to be? Hi, Bill. Yeah, so I don't know if you missed it, Billy, but the first bit I did was chest. And again, I keep saying that you keep popping up. So a chest is a billy. So he could have said, I hid a billy in the Rocky Mountains. If you find it, you can have it. So if anybody finds you in the Rocky Mountains, they can keep Billy. Um, but I try not to look for the easy answer. And like I said about the picture, I'm not saying there is more than one chest that you should focus on, but I am saying there is more than one chest in that picture because those synonyms potentially say there's hundreds of chests in that picture, which Forrest had in his office on his bureau, which is another chest, you know, and the scrapbooks that were given about the bathroom, the toilet, the closet, just saying chest, 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 chest. Possibly the bowl. They're all just chests. Here's a chest, there's a chest, everybody gets a chest. And I think, that was the plan. I hope it's not Billy, John. I hope that's not Billy. I think they all think that they're the real solver, and that's what I'm saying. You can't have a fraud where everybody is right. If Forrest frauded everybody, then you're all wrong. You know, and that's something that I had to think about. If it is fraud, then what's the point of me trying to solve it? But I can't think that I've solved it if I think it's fraud, and I don't believe that it is fraud. Never have and never will until somebody shows me proof that contradicts the information that I have. And it has to contradict the information, otherwise I won't believe it. And by contradict it, I mean, not your assumption contradiction, truth. Yes, it does, because if it's fraud, if it's fraud, then it doesn't matter whether you encoded it or not. You're saying he tried to fraud you because you encoded it and you have the right answer, and that the chest and jack is all fake. But the poem, if you encoded it correctly, says it's more than just the chest. So if you found a chest, which bit is the defrauding bit? The bit that says that you may be right in regard to the chest, or the fact that you solved the poem in its totality? The fraud has to be a poem solution. There was never ever a poem solution, and everything that we see was not planned to take place because of a poem solution. I'm not trying to argue with you, Five Leaf. I mean, I agree that there's a cipher in the poem, but Forrest never said that there were no ciphers. And I don't care how many people say it. Read the statement. They won't take you to the treasure chest or whatever the statement is, but they've offered us good solutions. So therefore, cipher has been positively given as a good solution. Doesn't say it's a correct solution. Doesn't say it's a winning solution. Just says that it's a good solution. So therefore, maybe you're able to find something with it, and it's a good solution. It doesn't say that it's the answer to the whole poem. I'm not saying that's incorrect. I'm saying that's the information that I get from Forrest. It's a good solution, but it won't take you to the chest or the treasure. Then you have to factor in what is Forrest talking about. Is he talking about a simple solve? So if your cipher is a simple solve, then he's talking about that. Or is your cipher the difficult but not impossible? Is he talking about that? So if he's talking about the difficult but not impossible, where's your simple solution? There has to be two solutions at least. Forrest said, when people find out the answer, they'll think, why don't I think of that? So therefore, in your solution 5, you have to have that answer. You have to be able to say that. Then you have to have the answer of the difficult but not impossible part of it, along with all the precise, shift, drift, and adjust, sure for the one that did, right straight to it, simplify, etc., etc., etc. In a solution that is a correct solution, you have to understand all those things to be able to explain why, if you solve the first 2 clues, that has to be in part of your solution. If you solve the first 2 clues and walk right by the chest, why is that the case in your solution? If I told you the Homer Brown, you go right straight to it. Why is that the case in your solution? And that's what I had to do. And I had to throw them out because it didn't work until you get to the point where you can say, oh, hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Hopefully, anyway. Decipher my 9 clues, which says, yeah, it says there's a cipher there. It's not as though he said there never was one. It just. But you're talking about the chest. The secret treasure, if there is a secret treasure, could be anywhere. Could be on Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus, Neptune. Could be anywhere. He didn't give any specifics for that. Only for one thing. So if you're talking about the chest, which has gone to auction and finished, how does your solve rate in everything that Forrest said? Because Jack's solve doesn't rate, and I think most people's solve don't rate. They don't. If we were putting, I'm not saying you're wrong, Bill, but if we're putting Bill's solve on here and then trying to work out everything that Forrest said, it might not tally up with what Forrest said. And then if we put Street on it, it might not tally up. And if we put Dave Woodard on it, it might not tally up. And if we put me on, well, I don't know. I hope mine would, but I don't know. Solution fits on a post-it note. Yeah, there was some question about Forrest wrote it that small that you need a magnifying glass to read it. So how small would the writing be? My solve would fit on a post-it note, absolutely 100%, without no shenanigans. But if we wrote it small enough, I think most people's solve would. Forrest didn't say it was solved by Jack. He didn't say it was solved by Jack. He said it was solved by somebody who it led straight to the spot. Jack said he solved it. And then Pam said that Forrest wrote it. So Forrest said he solved it, in my opinion. Bill. Hi, Wig. How you doing? Good to read you. Oh no. Lucky. Yeah, even the word chest, could mean treasure trove. Forrest gave different answers that were contradictory. So, in my opinion, you had to try and work out why they were contradictory and then work out what was actually being talked about. It's not possible that one solve is simple, why didn't I think of it, and difficult but not impossible at the same time. It's not possible. If you only have one solve for one thing, then you can't be looking at the right thing. You solve whichever solve you have. It could either be a simple solve, which everyone's going to think, why don't I think of it, or it's going to be a difficult but not impossible solve. Now, Forrest gave both of those statements. So therefore, maybe there's two different solves. Maybe there's two different chests, maybe blah, 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 blah. Most of the information says there's two or more things that you need to be concerned about. Yeah, normal handwriting. Yep, 100%. I believe that 100%. Normal handwriting, simple. Mind you'd have to warm up to it, otherwise it gets a bit abstract. But I'd rather not say what the trove is. Um, Again, it's hard to know what is. I mean, there's been a lot of movement over the past few weeks, and a lot of talk about bankruptcy and stuff like that. But I think most of the information given is information, and not bad information, good information. Ah, there you are, pirate. I thought you'd gone. Semantics. Don't use big words on me. I don't know many big words. So that was a big, very big thing for me. People saying, "Oh, you have to go boots on the ground," blah 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 blah, and you know, it's like, well, I think Forrest made clear that you had to know what it was before you stepped foot out the door. You had to have an idea of going right straight to it. No searching, no nothing. So therefore, people moan that, oh, it's not an armchair search, but how are you going to go right straight to it if you don't know what the answer is before you leave the house or before you get in your car? So, for me, right straight to it is as simple gets. It really is as simple gets. But there is, more to the poem than just a simple. And you have to use, or, in my opinion, only because I, did it, is you have to go for the metal and resolve to find out it's simple. It's only simple when you know the answer. Same as anything. When you know the answer, it's like, well, why don't I do that first? It's like when you look for something that you lost, you look everywhere, and then the last place you look, that's where it is. And it's like, well, what? If I'd have did that first, I'd have found it straight away. I don't know who that person is. Well, yeah, I hope the saviour is, a kind and gentle person. Um, I might not have used those words. The only way. Yeah, I don't believe that anybody would say, "Why didn't I think of that?" I might be wrong. Absolutely, might be wrong. So the simple bit might be right, but nobody's going to say, "Why didn't I think of that?" And I've been through it five. I've looked at it and I've tried to work out all the information, and I just, there's a difference between a simple "Why didn't I think of that?" and a simple answer using cipher. And whilst it's simple, I think you have to be a bit smarter than the average person or the average redneck to work out a substitution cipher. And not like I say, I quite agree that there is one in there. Lucky, stop it. Only the magic bullet can go straight to the target. Hmm. Well, that's a slightly weird statement there, Bill, because the magic bullet didn't go straight. It went here, there, and everywhere, and then just lay there, ready. And don't bring Connolly into this anyway, because he didn't live too far from Forrest. Well, from my information, that is. I might be wrong. Yeah, the home of Brown and the Blaze, like I say, simple, simple. And Forrest made it simple because he put all of those hints together. You know, solve the first two clues. Little girl from India. Told her the home of Brown. Blah blah blah. He put all those together in one little bit, which meant, hang on, if you just focus on this, there's your answer. Well, I've just read chest. Was chassis in there? I think chassis was in there. So, if you found a chassis, you found a chest. If that's what Forrest wanted, then somebody was right and they found a chest. I found my own car bill, in Wyoming. Probably just as good as yours. I don't know how it got there. Unless, put a crane and drop it down or something. I don't know how it got there. Past all the trees and everything. It's like, what? How's that got there? Yeah, I never got past the ugly stage, pirate. It's just ugly. Yeah, the simple. I agree. I've just said five. I agree. But Forrest also stated that people would say, "Why didn't I think of that?" And that's what you have to factor in. Is somebody going to say, "Why didn't I think of that?" I don't think they will. I think that's a really hard method to use and to understand, and then put a solve together from that information. And I don't say that you're incorrect. I just say, from my point of view, looking at it, I have to think, well, hang on a minute. Forrest said this, Forrest said this, Forrest said this, so therefore I can't use that because of this. And then if I can't use that, then I can't use I can't use any of it. I trusted. In answer to your question, trusted, they're playing. I think, yo, creepy foreigner. Uh oh. He did like mirrors, yes, and probably smoke as well, or at least steam. Mm. Uh oh, woman scorned. That's not good. Well, funny you should say that. You were red. Well, I don't know. I can't answer that. It was red right to left. So I could say yes to that, especially as it says in the first stanza that you had to recite the poem backwards while giving Forrest a handshake. And I kid you not, that's what it says. I'm not saying that's the answer. I'm saying that's what it says. And that's from right to left. And there are other bits of information the same way. And I did that poem, left centered, right centered, middle centered, to the letter, as I've already said. I did that poem every which way you can, codes and ciphers and 2 lines at a time, 3 lines at a time. I tried to work out everything that Forrest was talking about. Hi, Hush. I think some of us play nice. Some of us play nice. Not working on the trove. The whole point, when I first did it was there's more to this than we believe. So what is it that's more to this than we believe? So, and while I read the poem differently, I thought the poem would finish, in the future. So I was happy not to carry on looking for anything, and just discuss a few things with Davey with regard to topical events, could put, or astrological events, even, or planetary events, or all different things that happen in, now and in the future. Yep. Well done, Bill. Yep. I'm not saying that. Well, so it's possible that there is a cipher, but a different cipher than the cipher that is the cipher. If you see what I mean. Or it's possible that there's just a simple answer in the words that Forrest used, and you just had to be in his reverie to understand. It's simple. So Forrest talked about, he didn't want to get it in an email. He wanted to warm up to it, otherwise it gets a bit abstract after that. I think Forrest was giving out information, was telling people, this is it. If you understand what it is I'm saying, then you know what the answer is. But then you'd have to know what, all the words that he used in the chase were about to understand, why he had tenacity and why it was RIGHT and not not WRITE, and TAIL and not TALE, and those things. You have to, as long as people understand what it is that I'm saying, does it matter what the word is or whatever, all those statements that he made. Lucky. And back, or just to the moon? Uh-oh. Now you know by his words. So that's the thing that is the downfall for everybody, isn't it? The words that they use. These people that come on and pretend under different names, but then use the same insults or the same words. I can't remember what it was now that gave that away. Yeah, Harsh, I'd agree with that, but there's many paths in the poem that lead to lots of different locations, um, but they may be incorrect locations. So I understand what you're saying, although I would say that there are many paths in the poem that could take you to lots of locations, but I think there's two paths that are correct. Right. Uh-oh. Careful with that. I don't think they're distractions. As I keep saying, Forrest said it's there to aid the finder, not the seeker. Now, if you're not finding stuff and you're just seeking, then you're not going to understand the information that's given out, which is, key information, I think. Yeah, two paths, two treasures. Yeah. But yeah, so two paths, two treasures, but many different paths that, new moon right now. Woohoo. Happy Friday. Hi Zozo, how you doing? Um only just. You just made it in. It's 23:59. So yes, it is Happy Friday. See, sometimes I think like, what the heck is Bill on about? Why does he keep saying these things? And then he comes up with stuff and I think, he knows. Well, the fact that Forrest said, 20 different types of land, why, how does that impact on your soul? What's the reason that he said that? There has to be a reason why Forrest said that. And if you have a correct soul, you'll understand why Forrest said that. Put your bed under your bed for 30 days. There's lots to think about. If I rented a cabin in North New Mexico or something, what am I renting? Am I renting the backyard? Blah, blah, blah. 80 minutes late. Never late. Nice to see you, Sophia. Or read you. Uh-oh, Lucky Digger's loose. Well, you start off right with the LUC, and then it just goes wrong after that. You're just the key. You're the Lucy key. Well, hi, that guy. Forrest said he didn't know where he was going, but he knew he had to get there. Something like that. Or get there quickly. Hi, JK Pioneer. How are you? So I keep saying to people, you should read that film, The Great Pyramid 2019. It's an eye opener. I'll tell you that for nothing. Hi, Tim. How are you? Well, exactly. What if it's not land? Then land would not be an issue. Oh, possibly the Masons running the chase. So I'm not sure when I sent the email to Forrest, but I was like, I can't remember what I put in it. I was just so gobsmacked about the people in it. I was like, I don't know who is who. And then I don't even know if he did this before or after, but he said that people wouldn't give him information because they were not sure who he was or something. And I can't give you the exact quote or where it was, but he definitely did say it. I was like, oh, I hope he's not talking about me. Yeah, not land, and that is why land is not an issue. And that had to be the case. Forrest says, it's in water but not underwater, and land is not an issue. Then the fact that he said 20 different types of land, I mean, he went from there was only ever going to be one place, but he went to a solicitor for 20 different types of land. It's like, why don't you just go to a solicitor for the one place that you're going to put it? Boom. Good evening. Any backhanded comments tonight? I think people are getting upset with some of the things that you're putting out. It's hard to. I can't say I'm a God-fearing Christian, but some people give that impression, and then they say and do things that I think, well, hang on, that doesn't sound like a God-fearing person to say and do those things. But I don't know what a God-fearing person is, so I can't make a decision on that. See, that could lend credence to Five Leaf because he's all about the dino. Although my gold bone's in a different place, or his gold bone, Forrest gold bones. You know what I mean in regard to that. It depends what you're using the provenance as. If Jack says, "Is this the chest in the Thrill of the Chase?" then it's a chest in the Thrill of the Chase, in the Thrill of the Chase book. Hmm. Your dino spelt differently. That's why. You've only got little letters. Yeah, there was something else about rivers that Forrest talked about. I can't remember what it was. Was it different rules for Montana or something? The who owns what? I don't know. I can't remember now. It's a long time ago. Oh, don't be like that. It's hard to know who to be upset with and who to think they're doing a good job causing chaos. You know, in the real world, and no one didn't Forrest try to buy a river or a bridge or something because of a river. Yeah. So my dad used to say, I think the Indians talk about warm waters and lying, but my dad used to say, you tell a lie, you find out the truth, which is, telling a lie to uncover a lie. And I don't think that's such a bad thing if the uncovering of a lie is to aid people, not to defraud people. Yes, Bill. There's nobody on there. Big rocks. Is that big rocks or is that big rocks? Large rocks. Some rivers have that. Yeah, that's probably the word I was looking for. Almost Jurassic though. Oh, calm down, people. It's starting to look like Paul was in here. So when you think about Yellowstone, the Corps of Engineers, you know, without them, it may not be the place that it is today. So that you've a lot to thank them for. He did say he wanted to buy a river, but the wires wouldn't let him, or something, or build a bridge or something. See, whilst I think that might um, take a chip out of the wall you're trying to break through, I think the idea was to solve the poem, and all of the information outside of the poem was just use it for entertainment. Ah, is that the epic and fun? So the epic is poem. So my epic is the poem. There's going to be a poem ending. People will realise that the poem was the answer. That's how I see it. Now there might be something better than that, but absolutely believe that when the answer is revealed, it will be an answer from the poem that you only needed the poem, and Forrest was right and correct and truthful in everything that he said. I hope it is an epic one. I know that you found all that information, but I don't hold much sway in the negative interpretations of information. I don't believe there are any. I just believe that if you had a positive belief in Forrest and faith in a maverick, belief in the poem, I think you'd understand the information that was being given. What happens to Yellowstone when it's weathered? And we talk about gold or arsenic. Not sure who those people are. Dino that is the trove containing his gold bones hasn't been found. Hmm. And there, that takes you down the, do you pull the stone out of the stream or do you not? See, and that's why I say 5. I'm telling people facts. These words are real words. These are facts. I'm not making them up. And if read correctly as simple, precise, you know, follow the 9 clues precisely, blah, 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 those words mean. Each person who believes they solved a poem has a right to say, whatever they wish to say. Now, I'm not going to knock anybody. The thrill of the chase was for everybody, and we were all going to find our own path. The problem was, you're supposed to walk down the same path that Forrest walked down. Forrest was the only one who didn't want to stay on the trail. Now, if your solve involves you staying on a specific trail, then I don't think you're going to find everything. You're going to have to go off trail to find Forrest first, and then you'd have to find Forrest. Once you find Forrest, you have to follow Forrest in order to get the answer, which is tantamount to what he said. If you ain't the lead dog, the scenery's boring or something. Well, I believe that you're telling us facts about your solve. I don't believe you're telling us facts that it's fraud. There's no proof of that. Well, and to that dirt, it is caliph, and to the caliph, it is dirt. Well, you get brown stains on your pants if you go through there. It's not that none of us see it. No, no, lucky. Well, the fish is always in the signature. Ah, so I think Frank's hitting it on the head. So, what if you are? And what if some people aren't? What if some people are aware of the participation? What if some people are aware of that? The forest said it was there to aid the finder. So those people who are seeking won't know that there's a possible production going on. Ah, so that reminds me of the ochre. I've never heard of that word until the chase. The yellow ochre and the red ochre and something else. If that's how you say it, I don't know if they say Ochre. I don't know if that's how you say it. Well, there is pictures in there, and it looks like Forrest is wearing a hat or something. Jerry Lewis. Yeah. So Pisces is and Aries. Maybe you should be aware of Aries. Why do I hate that? Yeah, I think. Yeah, think I think I mentioned it before. 5. The OD means by way of the dinosaur. So when doing the poem differently, there's a part in it that says by way of the dinosaur. Could possibly say by way of the dinosaur. The what ifs. Ochre, I think. But yes, that's what it was. Yeah. Oh, Maybe we spell it differently. I don't know. Well, I spell it differently in my head anyway. But thanks, John. Ochre, yeah, ochre. I'm not sure how to say ochre. Um, Tincture anyway. Lucky someone needs to. Well, I don't know if the design's crappy. I think no different than saying I'm not trying to get not trying to get religious or anything, but people trying to blame God for the way we are. He gave us free will, and then we make. Hi Aries. He gave us free will, and we make it as bad as it is. So you can't blame God for us choosing what we do incorrectly. So maybe design is good. Maybe we make it what it is. Well, Forrest was having fun. You know, I think it's funny. I'm the only person who knows what it is I'm saying. So I thought, well, after 9 years, if Forrest is saying that, if he's the only one that knows what he's saying, then everybody who has a solve prior to that can't be correct because nobody knows what Forrest is saying. So therefore, how could you have a solve if he's the only one that knows what he's saying? He's tantamount out to saying nobody's given me the right information. Although he did say, a couple of people had given him the right Homer Brown or something. Can't remember. Synchronicity is the key to the matrix. Oh, that would Dave would. So find a strange that police department will give pictures. Yeah, I find that strange, and I don't really care if that's true or not in the sense of the chase. So I do care because I think it's the wrong thing to do, but it doesn't play on my mind in regard to what's in that picture or what could possibly be found in those pictures because it has no, in my opinion, relevance to the truth. Still think the tennis shoes are pretty important. Why would they be there? It's irrelevant whether Forrest would have worn them or not. Why are they there in the? Does Forrest strike you as the type of man who would walk in with his tennis shoes and then just leave them in his office? No, of course he doesn't. So we are spirits in the material. Yeah, like I say, I find it interesting, but I can't see how that gets you any closer to whether you believe in Forrest or not. The real answer. Uh, whilst so I talked to Davey about um, Dave, and while I won't say that he's incorrect, it's probably low on my list of those that I feel might have had a good solve because it's not in water underwater. It is associated with a man-made object. It's in a place that everybody goes, let alone 200 feet or 500 feet. The fact that Forrest was going, with his last gasping breath, was going to throw his body on it, and all of those statements that Forrest makes keeps putting across against. Is it possible? I'm not saying it's not correct, but if it's not in water, if it's in water, not underwater. So if it's not in water, how is your solve correct? I don't get it. I don't get it. Forrest hasn't just said it just for nothing. Did the hot water effect of Tina? Solve the first two clues. You're halfway there, metaphorically speaking. Something else with what was that one? Similar to that. There's another one similar to that. It's like if those things don't make you understand your solve, then maybe you have the wrong solve. There was no murder, Frank. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. 2 or 4, it doesn't matter. No, it doesn't add up. But maybe it's just information then. Maybe, it was just supposed to be giving you information. Maybe things aren't what they seem. Yep, the only one was Forrest. Um, hanging from a limb he was. I'll go and David, I'll go and um, I laugh, but really we shouldn't be, slating people off because of their beliefs. Yeah, I was watching a film the other day, and I was like, wow, that opened my eyes. Something to do with the tunnels of Chilun or something, I don't know. Wow, that's crazy. Didn't realise that those sort of things were happening there. But it's quite understandable then how they managed to keep, fighting and not get killed by all those bombs. It does mean taken from water. So are you Pluto, lucky digger? Or what was the other one? Beetlejuice? Hades? Can't remember now. What if you're not a pirate, shy guy? Lucky Lucy. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Or is it Lucky in the sky with diamonds? Yeah, I saw it. Her husband speaking. Um, I think he knows that your name is Frank. Um, I don't get why. I don't really want to get involved in it, but I don't get why those sort of statements have anything to do with what's going on in the chase. Why people have to get like that. So I don't get why people don't see this, and I could be wrong. The statement in the poem is, "If you're if you're braving in the wood, I'll give you title to the gold." Why does anybody need title to gold? They don't, unless it's a mine. They don't. You would just get given the gold and that's it. You don't need a title to claim it. There's no certificate of authenticity. They're just going to give you the gold and that's it. And they will be marked with whatever mark they have. But Forrest does not need to give you title to gold, if that is the case, in the sense of gold that we understand it. Certainly not after you found a chest. If you took the chest and gone in peace, which is what should have happened, how or why do you need title to gold that you don't need title to anyway? It doesn't make sense. So therefore, must we talk about something different? I'm missing some of the stuff here, aren't I? I know. I am the one and only Angel Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Other question I have is I have never heard of any police department. Yeah, and that could be, you know, information. Pluto is the destroyer. Thought Pluto was given as part of the devil, as is Donnie, I think. And well, so King of the Underworld, same name, Lucifer, Devil, blah blah blah, all fall under the same category, I suppose. Hades. Yes, looking at that, JK Pioneer. So those planets are possibly Granddad, Dad, Skippy, Forrest. Granddad, Dad, Skippy, Forrest. Who was the other one? Ah, the Messenger. Just in my imagination, that is. I think Forrest is Jupiter, Skippy Neptune, Saturn, William Marvin Fenn, and Uranus. No, is it Uranus? Yeah, the father. Saturn, Uranus, something like that. Grandfather, something like that. It's possible. You could have maybe, Peggy. Don't forget the moon. And there are other moons. Jupiter has its own moon, Saturn. So thanks for that. 5 planets do line up. Already thinking about that. Early morning for us. Land is not an issue. Gold is first place. The gold AU pronounced O. AU, don't watch that. Watch this. So you get AU. Gonna microdose today. I have no idea what that means. It's an insane asylum, or even an outsane asylum. Don't know which way's out. Again, they're there to give information to aid the finder, I think. And if people don't understand it, it may be because they don't understand the chase. 3 planets next month. Is Venus one of those planets? Astrology 101, oh good. Hang on a minute. Was it Capricorn is brown? I can't remember now. There's so many things on my mind. And to do with those sort of things that were going on just now, from one house to another house, etc., etc., etc. Already know. Stop that hippie. Well, he said the kind of fella would be a redneck with 12 kids, right in a pickup. What was that all about? I died. So Zeus is Jupiter, and there lies or could lie. It's not who you are; it's who they think you are, or who you can make them think you are. And that goes throughout history. We could have the same gods under different names. The same flood, blah 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 blah. Venus is Lucifer, Mario. Oh, poor Venus. And so does Marvel and Gates. Well, scant is a really weird word. You wouldn't believe what scant means. Beware the Capricorn. Saturn. Oh, they're all at it today. God, these people are very in tune. They didn't go. Davio is Capricorn, the goat. Oh, so is there 12 people. Taurus. So Uranus is under the Taurus. Well, I did notice today in David Paisano's stream, I didn't see all of it, but Candy had her own name. You haven't time travelled, have you, Wig, back to Jurassic period and killed a dino and ate it? Okay. So I'm the water bearer, and Davy is the twin. And the water bearer is an air sign, not a water sign. And Pisces being a water sign, I wonder where warm waters holds. Everything tastes like chicken, even frog's legs. I always wonder what. Are you going back to have some, John? I know you do time travel, so just watch out for those tyrannosauruses or those raptors. They're not, although they probably would taste like chicken. They would. Brain of the crab. Forrest talked about crabs as well. Unfortunately, I can, and that's scary. Hush, to match those words. How deep is the hole? Why would 9 Mile Hole be significant? There's a possibility there. Rattlesnake is tasty. I'll take your word for that. I'm not 100% convinced that I would actually taste it, even if it is tasty. I certainly wouldn't want to kill it. Community was tricked. I like the way you say that. So there you go, 5. I think that's a better word. Tricked. Tricked concerning the crest. Crest is the water sign. It is also the Einstein thinker. Thought Aquarius was an air sign, just the water bearer. Aries, god of war and love. So again, it's not who you are, so you can make them think you are. These, you could have Mars. So the reason why I chose those people as gods is because they're planets and they're in the sky, and we can see them where you don't see. I know Aries is a astrological sign, but because of the planets being in conjunction, I think Mars is a planet that will be in conjunction soon. And Betelgeuse is having its own whale of a time at the moment, thinking of going supernova. That's a place if ever there was one. I think that's got something to do with the devil or something. I don't think he has the same birthday as me, but definitely the same hairline. Beware the Capricorn, indeed. It depends how you look at 9 Mile Hole. So if you're looking at that 9 Mile Hole, maybe snooker's a good term as well. Yeah, Aquarius is air. I'm pretty certain it's just the water bearer, and it's the same as how the chase is. People believe it because they see it. So they believe Aquarius is a water sign because there's water there, but it is an air sign, and it is just the water bearer. And it's it would be hard to make somebody believe it if it wasn't there right in front of their face that would contradict the answer that they have. No, Aquarius is a water sign because of the water bearer, blah blah blah. But no, it's an air sign. Mars is Aries. Yes, Mars. So looking at the synonyms, Mars is quite a few things. It's also a rocky planet. Uh, Air signs means smartness. Does it? Wow. I don't know what went wrong with me then. You went to Yellowstone last night. So the easy answer to this is if Jack found it, why wouldn't he just take it to the Rangers? Which is what the poem says. Take chest, go in peace. So finds it, gives it to the Rangers. They get in touch with Forrest. There's no issues involved. Forrest says, yes, it's my chest. He might get a ticking off, or a small fine or whatever it is. And then Jack goes with the chest. Take the chest and go to the ranger. Yeah. Just. So, well, we'll wait and see on that. The dragonfly, yeah. 4, 3, 5, 7. And moon. So you're pretty much saying the same thing there, Zozo and Bill, which makes me wonder again. So, is there a reason why they're saying it's 9 Mile Hole? Wow, wig, where did that come from? Okay, so Lucky put it in a different way. Put up wire fence in front of our in front of my house today up to the eaves. I can hear it already. He is crazy. I prefer to say reverie, but imagination is cool. Yeah, I prefer to say that. Well, that's the one with the bow in it. So, I take it you're a little upset with that. With not often I see you use that language, though. Yeah, Forrest was August 22nd. So the lion. I wonder if having. Yeah, yeah, and that would probably help if it was an empty chest as well. Even if it wasn't an empty chest, it would just be like I don't know minerals. I don't know. I don't know how it works over there. Maybe it is Melinda. Maybe it is. So, a good map would be helpful to point out those things. Possibly, potentially, maybe. Oh wow, that's interesting. Well, Davey keeps pointing out to me. Well, not to me, point out to me, but he keeps bringing it up. Why did it take her 2 weeks to get to the spot? So we have a discussion about that. We have the same discussion. He keeps bringing it up, so we have the same discussion, but it certainly plays on his mind that it took 2 weeks for her to go out there. Sarah Davis. Yeah, Spider Woman. Well, we know who Spider Woman is, and Athena, who was upset by Spider Woman. Well, Dancing with the Stars. So, listen to the tunes or Dance with the Stars. Whatever. I can't model Jack following the be questioned. But 5, you have to decide first who is Jack. Forrest never said Jack was the finder. And Pam has indicated that Forrest already wrote the article, so therefore Forrest wrote the Medium article. Potentially, possibly. So you need to factor that in. You can't take half the information and leave the other half out. If Pam is saying that Forrest wrote the Medium article, then you have to factor that in, that Forrest wrote the Medium article. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but I'm saying Pam said she had information from that would possibly, maybe, say that Forrest wrote it. And Douglas saying spare a thought for the author. Fifth Amendment. So everybody has this information, but nobody's prepared to change the way they look and try and see it for what it might be. Exactly, Sophia, exactly. Yep. Prove it. Prove it. And match a map. Absolutely match a map. Well, there's more than one map in there, but while it might speak volumes, it wouldn't get anybody anywhere. I don't see that there's any need for it. But on to the weather. I think everybody has been told what the situation is, but nobody's trying to piece it together. It just nothing. Wow, another another, another statement from Wig that makes you stop and think. I mean, nobody's even questioned the statement. I wish I could have lived to do the things I was attributed to. Something so important, and nobody's even looked at it, tried to understand it, tried to ascertain what Forrest was saying with that statement. I think it's a pretty important statement, very important statement. See again, Bill. Sometimes you say, like you talk like he's your brother. So, well, the chase doesn't end, I don't think. So there is a continuation of the chase. Live it, trust it. So there is a continuation of the chase. So we should carry on living the thrill. Yeah, the answers, they are all over the place. Well, I think they are anyway. And whilst I'm afraid to add more answers to that list, um, you are wise, Sophie. Government. Government. Not sure who John's talking to, but it's a quote from a book. Collect, string, and tie the right knot. Yes. So the ball of string went missing, the car went missing. Out of the blue, my father said. I mean, that could have just been swearing. Out of the blue, but why would my father say something like that or do something like that? So that made me think of Thor and Minerva and people like that. In his reincarnation, came back to get it. Well, Forrest said he's going to choose when he was passed. Nothing wrong with that. Is that telling you something in itself. I don't know. Bill writes some good stuff. Now and again, it's like 1 minute I don't understand what he's saying, the next minute I think, what? How does he know that? Diane's. Ooh, Sophia. See, again, Bill comes up with something. Operation Chaos. That was the whole point. Forrest wanted to know who would help him. Chaos or embroidery. I think both were going to help him. Just at which point in time, would chaos be enough, and then would embroidery um, stitch it all together, basically. Hmm. Yeah, there are a few wise names. I was quite interested to know that Shiloh was a special place or a secret place. Ah, you're telling me that's where it's from? Oh, right. I didn't know it was from there, but I do know it does help. Uh, well, sometimes it'd probably be great for tying up pants as well, as the Americans would say. No belt. Well, Sophia knows what you're saying. Do you think? What? What? Hello, Paul. I heard that. Silence. I heard it. No, Jack's not quiet. He's told to shut up, but not quiet. Hi, Marion. Happy Friday. Hi, Lorraine. How are you? I'm into Saturday now, and I won't, be on much longer because, again, it's my work day, so I will have 3.5 hours sleep before I get up. Yeah, I know. You said it the other day, Bill. Um, Charlotte was an important day. Here we go with tag with Davy B. I hope somebody else goes live. What a pleasant surprise for a Saturday. I hope everyone is well. I is well. Thank you, Davy. Are you well? Are you awake? Is it mud time? Thanks, Justin. Charlotte is where the article comment was held. Promising more discoveries. Absolutely promising more discoveries. And that's exactly what Charlotte has said. Epicness and fun and the stories emerging late today in New Mexico that Forrest with open discussion on influence. It is. Thank you. Happy Saturday for me. Woohoo. Another day. Thank you. And I'm glad that you are good, Lorraine. My eyes are open. I may not be. Well, as long as your eyes are open, but your eyelids are shut, that's okay. Truth and true. So there is in the chase. I believe that Forrest has been truthful and loyal um, to the chase and to the community. And just because Forrest is not here, there's no reason not to carry that on. But obviously, some people think that that's not the case. I'm quite the other way. I believe that while things are not what they seem, they are not what you think. Well, it could have been worse. You could have spelt steak Stake. Actually, Bill, I did actually chase a rabbit one day. I skived off school because I was determined to catch this rabbit. Um, I was determined that he was going to tire before I did. I didn't catch it, but I ripped my trousers and everything. I was so worried about going home. Dad, crazy days. Sometimes though, you just don't give up. Just got to keep going. True story, that is. I was on my way walking to school and I saw a rabbit. And I thought, that's it, I'm having that. I don't know who Bernie is. If you'd have said someone like who? Oh, what's his name? Lord something or other. Who's that bloke with the plane who hid or disappeared? The heart is on your sleeve, Paul. You just thought it was on your sleeve, on your screen. Jack chases. We all love Paul, a Jack Rabbit. Interesting what that's synonymous to as well. Cool. Oh, I'm not sure what that word is, but anyway, for the raccoon. Yes, we are a big fan. Child is not hard, and there is a statement on medium. Doesn't want to be handed by the. That's a fair enough statement. Lucan, was it Lord Lucan? No, who is that bloke with a plane? Oh, good. I'm not surprised. Tit for tat. Oh, not another murderer. Annoying. Covers up words. Not remove it from there. Ah, that's the heart you want about. Thank the boy Galaxy for that. Oh, it's like that, is it? Well, they must be the same mushrooms that Tasuki ate. Yeah, I don't understand what's going on with YouTube and Google and things like that. They seem to be changing, fixing things that aren't broke. That's the angry thing. I don't think that heart stuff. Either. Don't like the heart stuff. Woohoo! I'm not on my phone. On a laptop. Grey stick mushroom. Ooh. Well, I hope we're never in dead chat. Otherwise, we're in trouble. Uh oh. Lucky's moving over to the dark side. You have failed me for the last time, Skywalker. Search your feelings, Lucky. I am your father. Not quite, I think it's Spire. Was his first name Yakety? A Yakety Yak? Oh, too many vehicles. Oh, a car number plate. I think it was vengeance for the death of a loved one. What? Remember what the doorman said. My horse. That makes sense. That makes absolute sense. I know what that picture is though. What did the dormouse say? I'm blind, I'm blind. What? I don't think so. That was three blind mice. Going backwards, you've got a 2002 Mustang, then going backwards to a 99 Ford Explorer. Feed your head. Where's your head at? Where's your head at? Most disabled boys are not allowed to be vanity at the same time. Why? That in itself is some sort of ism. Are you not allowed to be vain if you are disabled? That's a scary thought. That's what I am blind. Or come in, the door's open. Ah, Wonderland. Or down the rabbit hole. Never had one of those sort of cars. No BMW, no Mercedes. Feed your head. Yes. Off with it. Off with his head. Frank's a great cop. Well, must mean a different thing over there than it does here. A great cop is a find or, partner. Hi, Steve, how are you? So Frank's a great cop. Hmm. Uh-oh. Here's the crocodile with his shiny white teeth. Who are you chomping at now? I think the way I see it is those that want to believe in the negativity will find answers in the negativity. And those that want to find answers in the positivity will find answers in the positivity because they are there to be found. And it's just a question of whether you believe in your assumptions in regard to what potentially could be incorrect, or whether you believe in your deductions in what you believe is correct. Let's see, for at least assets. Can't remember that. To work at NASA? What? Doing gardens? Yeah, NASA seems pretty prominent in the poem, right in the middle. Hmm. So you got an offer to work at NASA? Well, good luck with that, Mr. Retirement Man. That's I hate to say it, 5, but that's a step up from where you got after they kicked you out from. Um, I can't remember what that place is called now. I've already said that, Davey. Years ago, I was headed to the shooting. Oh, at least I didn't cancel the Olympics. Yeah, I'll see what's happening. I'm not quite sure I do see that, but I can understand why you say it. Yes, I made it. Hi, Godelkin. Oh, you were only Godelkin today. Nice to read you as your original self. And I say that in the, that's all I've known you as before you became Golden Keynotes and stuff. Al Pacino played Frank. Wow, Pacino. Slow and steady wins the race. Wow, cool. Oh, that was probably Street, not a space agency. Yeah, I think there was something in the back of my mind that talks about how NASA became NASA. Well, see if see if Trusted will get you a job with him. Spy agency. Wasn't it always a spy agency? Wasn't it always a way of getting things up into the air? It is, and don't call me Shirley. Yeah, that can't have been good news. And I don't doubt your abilities because you shot a raccoon. Oof. I was laughing with Davey B about my computer. I don't know what it goes through. But it was saying, look, get out. If you lot are in my computer, get out. Well, Dave was saying get out of his computer so we can get some work done. Sure, I could now, but I got kicked out again. Well, hopefully they'll give you some gas money for that hot gas. Because you cannot. Davey. Well, I wonder how that camps smell. Actually, so whilst I've never taken it up, every now and again they do a fun day at our work, and in there is archery, and every time I go, I love doing it, but I never take it up. I always manage to shoot about an inch left. I don't know why. I have to keep an eye out for that inch left. Wow. Stop saying murderer. Reminds me of Ina Kamosi song. I'm surprised you didn't say that, Zozo. I'm a lyrical gangster. I call it revenge. Best served cold. Um, shouldn't have took out his pet. Yeah, guns are not the thing in the UK, so I mean that's some shooting. That is. I mean them aren't big eyes either. If it was a bull, I could have said you got a bullseye, but it's a raccoon. They try to change our sort of retirement age, so you have to work longer now. They should say that at the beginning, when you're young, not when you're just about thinking you're going to retire, and then say, nope, you have to work a bit longer. Davey, you're not that old to remember the Swinging Sisters. Yeah, see, mm, I want to retire because my body is not able to do the work that I'm doing. And I don't feel I'm young enough to to go out into the world again and do something and work for someone else. So, I'm not doing the job that I've been trained to do, which is not as fulfilling. And it's hard to keep doing it when my body's saying, look, you're suffering, Mario, you're suffering. Why'd you put yourself through it? Just pain. Don't, not much point going through that pain every day. Going to expire. Yeah, if my legs get better, I've got a problem with. Well, I have got a problem with circulation because I had that checked and the circulation's good, but I get ulcers on my ankles. They are very painful and makes it difficult to put shoes on. So it's not a good way to go. So they're starting to go now. Well, they've gone apart from just that last bit, but they're not as painful as they were. But I feel I feel if I carry on doing this job, 10-hour days, standing on my feet ain't going to do me much good. Keep using that word farmicide. An ounce. I don't know if I was a hired assassin. I think I just chose to be an assassin. And good night. Who's good night? Yeah, they keep moving the goalposts. Wow, you do have the power. Who else had the power with you, pirate? Was it Indy? I think it was. So you're the only one today, Pirate. You're the only blue. How does that feel? Must look good. Hey, Pirate, did the government give you a date? And it says on his bottle top when it's going to expire. It's like He-Man, by the power of Grayskull or Greybeard. There you go, by the power of Greybeard. I have the power. Not I, you have the power. Don't phase me, bro. Okay, so basically, I did the chess thing. If you came in late on, picture that everyone's going on about. I said, if you're not prepared to think, there might be different information. I'm not saying this is the information that's in there, but you're all talking about one chest, and the synonym of the word chest were like, thousands, well, not thousands, but hundreds of chests in that picture. Whether it's the drum or the forms that are on there, or the jars that are on there, or the box that is on there. Lots of different synonyms for the word chest. And there's a plain, and whether it be hidden in plain sight or in plain sight, there's a plane there, there's some glasses there, there's a chest there. It's like, is there different information other than, this is fake and this is, this means this and this means that? Or is the picture just telling you something different if you're prepared to look? So I choose to believe that it's telling us something different, especially when you see a pair of white tennis shoes in the middle of the office. It's like, Forrest does not do that. I don't even know the man, but I know he's not the type of man to walk into his office, take his tennis shoes off, and just put them in the middle of the floor and have a picture taken of it. Ain't gonna happen. Not gonna happen. He's and more women that work. Yeah, I think I'm joking. Chest of drawers. Well, chest of drawers. You know, a chest on a chest, isn't it? The drawers are a chest, or the bureau. You know, so a drawer of chests, maybe a drawer full of chests. Yeah, like I say, I don't try to read too much into um, the negative side of it. I just see, some things. There's a reason why the hat's there. There's a reason why the shoes are there. There's a reason why the drum was there, and the drum is a chest as well. Change for the stool. Apparently, I haven't seen it. Just what people are saying. It's There's information, and it's like, come on. Oh, more retractions. He may do, but I don't think he puts them in the middle of the floor to have a picture taken of them. No, I don't think the fact that they're white sneakers. I think that they're in the middle of the floor. You know, I, I don't see as that's the case. I, I wouldn't think that Forrest would think there was a need to take them off so urgently and quickly and leave them in the middle of the room. The galaxy. Ah, galaxy. Sounds like Princess Leia. Boxes. Can you sneak around in sneakers? Can you sneak around in sneakers? Good question. If you found the doctor, hmm, hmm, I think there's more in that statement than I'm reading at the moment. Five is hoping to have all these groupies. They want about Dark Greg or some other sort of dark. I miss. Oh, you're saying your name is Miss Mikkel something or other? Dark. Well, I don't think most people do know that those things are going to happen, which is a good thing, really. I wouldn't like to think that I knew that, the next step was going to be the last. Which is another thing me and David have talked about, if whoever the solver is hoping that their family will benefit, what happens if they pass away? you know, what if the solver is the solver and they pass away? Does the family still get something, or those sort of things? I mean, yeah, maybe did. So in your mind, FF never took his shoes off. No, in my mind, I'm thinking who would take the shoes off in the middle of the room? You would take them off at the door, or you would take them off as you sat down. Took them off then. I wouldn't see what the rush was to take them off in the middle of the room and leave them in the middle of the room. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying it seems weird to me that I wouldn't. I don't think Forrest was that sort of person that would walk halfway into a room, take his shoes off, and then go and sit down. But if he was 13 years old, he might probably throw him. Well, so I haven't seen the pictures properly, but the one that I saw, I'm sure, was just like in front of the bureau, and the drum was there, the hat, the bureau was there with the stuff on it, and then just a pair of white shoes. Although maybe there was stuff down there, it just didn't look like it to me. And I could be wrong. And like I said, I don't pay too much attention to the picture. I'm not saying he's a scruffy person or anything. I'm just saying I only took a brief look at it. I saw a few things on there. I thought, yeah, I'm sorry to hear of all these people passing. Uh, it's not the easiest thing in the world to cope. I'm not sure what's worse, knowing that somebody that you love is going to pass away, or somebody passing away um, quickly. Yeah, I was watching some of it, and then I saw a quick view on it. But when Ben was showing it, he sort of had it zoomed in. I didn't even realise the shoes were there until the picture was seen zoomed out. I can't remember who had it zoomed out. To be fair, might have been a quick Josh Jordan video. I'll try and watch one or two of them because there's like 20. So I'll try and watch one or two. 'Cause I try to get a overall view of what people are thinking. Like I say, I'm not trying to search for answers anymore. The the making it happen, I think, is towards the latter stages now. And as I said before, the stream is trickling along just nicely, and all those boulders that are in the way are making the stream do what it needs to do. And I have a fear of disrupting that flow by doing or saying anything that possibly shouldn't be done or said. The thing with a poem is it gives you lots of information, but doesn't say, yeah, definitely do this, and definitely do this, and definitely do this. It just says, look, here's some information. It doesn't say, here, look, like there's information, which could be relatively important, but it doesn't say you have to say this. It might do, but I didn't look for that sort of information. So whilst I can see information in the poem, it's scary to think that if I say it, it could, put a different light on things. Anyway, I'm going to have to go because it's only, it's 21 minutes past 1 o'clock, which means I have 3 hours sleep before I've got to get up. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope that, you weren't too bored. Thanks, Paul, for not, going crazy on me. I appreciate you being here. So thanks to everybody that's, hello, Huskadoo. You're crappening again. I know that word now. Must be Jason Northface, maybe. Good night, Trusted. Like I say, thanks for turning up. My pleasure. It probably hasn't helped you much, but I just, when I see those sort of things and then people getting angry or, trying to, feel like they're being given a runaround, I feel like it's information, possibly, if studied in a different way, might bring different answers. Good night, Wig. Thank you. Thanks, Huskadoo. Thanks, Sophia. Thank you. That's nice. Thank you. It's good to read you. Obviously I can't see you, but yeah, it's good to have you here. I have 4 thoughts. Wow. Yeah, look at life a little differently. You would if you had 4 of those. Thanks, Pirate. You moderated very well. And not even, a mere mention of threatening to kick somebody out. Brilliant stuff. Yeah, thanks everybody. I do appreciate you coming in and voicing your opinions. And I don't mind, criticism. I don't, if it's done in the right way, doesn't matter. And, I'll try to do it in the right way as well. I may have to. Yeah, I try not to get stressed over it. I think, everything's in hand and, things are going the way they're supposed to go. So I think people getting, arsy about it is not the right way. Hercules, hello, goodbye. Yep, same to everybody out there. There's dads out there, granddads, whoever. Happy Father's Day. Nice one. Life's a garden, dig it. I think you definitely are, Jason. Disappear into the bushes. Thanks, John. I think you grant the power yourself. You don't need me to give you power, but hide behind the tree. Okay. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you being here. Take care. Be safe. Hope somebody else goes live and gives you some fun. Ciao for now. Take care.